How you doing? I'm Big D. Welcome to the show. I hope you had a great holiday 2 days ago, which was Christmas. It was quite decent for myself and my family. Very small family. Not many people came, but we still had a good time. I hope you did as well. I want to talk about silver supply, silver price. There's a lot going on. A lot of good coming our way. At least my opinion. Please check out the disclaimer in the description below. You have to understand I'm not telling you to do anything, but maybe with the information I give you, you might want to. Or maybe you're going to lay back and see what happens. That's your choice. Now, silver supply to become a little bit more constraint over the coming months, next year in fact, and beyond, because from the 1st of January 2026, China is bringing in an export restriction. Now that doesn't mean to say that nobody will be able to export silver from Shanghai, but it means that you have to follow only big companies will be able to do it. And only then will they have to follow, they will have to follow a lot of rules. And they'll have to get permission from the government from any export of silver, which will only be allowed to certain circumstances. And I'm not going to get into all of the rules, but you can look up those as well, do a little research. A lot. But the point is, it's definitely going to be a lot harder for silver to be exported between China and, say, United States, which basically means that silver coming to the Western markets will be more limited than has probably ever been traditionally. So what we're getting is a situation where there's probably a lot of shorts out there on the COMEX exchange, on the America, who shorted silver but don't have or can't get their hands on any of the physical silver. Now, delivery is going to be very, very difficult for the COMEX, being short-sighted. A lot of companies that want silver from the COMEX usually they just take the money. That's going away. They see that the problem is here. They see the problem isn't going to be fixed in 6 months or a year or ever. Now, physical silver to delivery, if when someone is demanding delivery, so if you have a futures contract, my recommendation to you is demand delivery. Well, you can still get it, because we might get to the point where it's not possible to get the delivery to protect these shorts. These banks are in big trouble, in my opinion. They basically say, okay, everything settles at cash and you don't get the silver. To get cash, but at a price where they decide. Not the price you decide. I can say that that's going to happen. Again, my opinion. But this could happen if you're in the position we're in, more or less. Didn't know how to exactly say it. Because exchange traded fund, if you buy shares in exchange traded fund, they have to buy physical silver, if assuming it's physically backed. But what do you do when they can't buy the physical silver because it's not available? Well, they'll probably go and buy the futures. And then if the futures end up being cash settled, not silver settled at a price which is, let's say, $75, for example. I do want to point out at close of yesterday, I think I saw $79.37 an ounce. I think that was the highest I saw. Now, again, it depends on who you look for pricing. I use JM Bullion. You might use one company to go purchase locally because it might be a lower price. You might use one for selling purposes. Someone comes and wants to buy some silver from you, you use that one, whatever, however it might work for you. But if the free market and you want to take the $75 and go buy silver in that market, you might have to pay $125 to $200 in the future. Who knows what that price will be in the real market, especially in the COMEX, which is a huge paper market. So I feel it's not sure that something's breaking, but it looks to me like, I hear stories of the shops are emptying. I see the physical cash market in Shanghai now trading at where you can actually check this. Showed how to check that, and it's hard to find it online, like say Google or something like that, of what Shanghai is selling it at, because they were over $80 at close. But you gotta know the math. And if my math was correct, it was definitely quite a bit over $80 an ounce for silver. Much higher than the Western market. The highest spread ever, actually. Obviously, you got this new rule coming in from China saying that they can't export or only export under certain conditions to the West. Maybe it's something to do with the new tariffs that Trump has put out. I don't know. Maybe they're playing games, because this is a strategic metal used in military, used in solar panels, used in electric cars. It's the new Samsung battery, the solid state Samsung battery. So we'll have to see how that all works out. But if you got a chance now, while you can still get it, I'd pop down to your silver shop and see what they got. There might be a pawn shop in your area. Pawn shops in my area, they're considerable high premiums. There are another pawn shop in my area that is only $3 to $4 over spot, and they have silver. The other pawn shops that are premiums are very high, they don't have hardly any. They might have some silverware, say 92.5%, whatever, silverware, but it's still silver. Just a lower percentage. It's not 99.9, 92.5, whatever. I'm not into sterling silver, so I don't really know the exact, but if I was to get into it, I'd learn a little more about it. But right now, I'm 99.9999. Let me know in the comments what price they're asking if you have one in your area, a pawn shop that you purchase from. Or maybe, like myself, I also have a once a month coin sale at one of our local Holiday Inns. Let me know what the premiums are. I'm sure the premiums are going to be probably the highest you've ever seen, but it might actually be a little shocking, and you might be able to get it cheap. And I'd definitely like to know that as well. Last chance to buy silver at it pretty soon, I'm thinking, locally, because it seems like more and more people are catching on. I think the market is actually drying up, and we might, who knows? In 2 to 3 years, maybe the price will be hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. Who knows about that? I mean, some people are talking $10,000. Some people are talking it's going to overtake gold. some on YouTube, or they might have a better strategy than I do. I don't know how that is possible, but if it is so low and it's only, they can't make the electric cars and the solar panels, and uh, the military is not able to make missiles, you never know, right? What are your thoughts? So we're in a bull market, and we had a big breakout above $50 ever since it hit 50. It did step back a little bit. Silver became unstoppable, in my opinion. I mean, it's just pushing higher in the last 9 to 10 weeks. Initially, it broke through $50 resistance level, which was 45-year resistance zone. Basically, silver prices have been considerably below that number for the last 45 years or so. First time silver saw $50 was January 1980. It took 45 years. Imagine how much energy that's been compressed, stored in that kind of like consolidation phase over the last 45 years. Now it broke through that resistance back in October. It rallied to 54-ish at the high, and it bounced back again. Came back pretty hard, about $9, say right around $45. And something then in November that the next leg up basically started with a quickly big silver back to $50, bang. So now it's clear that former resistance is not existing any longer, and basically silver is unleashed out of the big compression and consolidation formation. Sky is pretty much the limit, in my opinion. I mean, we are in an uncharted price territory, so obviously nobody really knows. There's no charts to look at. Can't go back 20 years and see what happened when this kind of thing happened. Even then, everything has changed. Supply is so far diminished. Last 5+ years have been a deficit from the mining aspect of it. Probably 500 million ounces every year minimum. They tell us 500 million ounces every year in a deficit of what we need and what we use every year versus what is coming out of the ground. And it's, last I looked, it was like 57-1 silver to gold ratio. Still way too far off. Comes out of the ground supposedly at 7-1. I highly doubt that is where we're at, because that 7-1 hasn't changed in years, and it was before the deficit showed its ugly head. The fake deficit, in my opinion, again. Now, a lot of new money is coming into the sector. Then the fundamental news is extremely bullish. It's all coming together, and I don't want to be a silver bear in this kind of, people rushing and buying so much silver as they can. States are buying silver. India, China, they're huge on solar panels. They're buying huge amounts. I mean, it's exactly the same scenario that we've been talking about for many years. I mean, obviously on this show, I've only been here for 6 months now, probably. And I'm trying to build the show, so I do appreciate you liking it, sharing, making comments. Please, I do really, really need your help. I mean, personally, for decades in the silver space, finally it's here. Finally, silver has broken free, and I think it's not in new price discovery mode. And we are most likely on a way to $100. I'm thinking very short period of time. But maybe in the next few months, who knows? I was actually thinking Monday breaks out. Could it be $85, $90? maybe by the end of the week, before the first of next year. Could it hit $100? I think it's very probable. Let's go with possible. Right now, it seems to be unstoppable. I mean, yes, it's crazy overbought. People I know that said they would never buy into silver, they're buying. Then again, I know some people that said they wouldn't sell their silver, and they're selling. They think, is it going to go backwards? And am I going to lose all my money? I wish I had an answer for you, but I don't. I think nearly 80% above its 200-day moving average, not really a healthy setup in the short term. But then again, I mean, silver is just catching up with gold right now. I mean, the gold ratio is still pointing to more upside for silver because it keeps outperforming gold. It's been doing that all this whole year, pretty much. What did I say? 57 ounces, almost 58 to 1 ounce of gold. Lots of room in the mid to no longer run for silver. So I'm thinking by the end of this upcoming week, before the 2nd of January, I believe we're looking at, I'm going to put it out there. Let's see. I'm going to say $95. And I'm going to say gold isn't going to move as much. I think it's going to outperform gold. And I think the gold to silver ratio is going to drop again. And once the trend is in motion, and it's hard to stop, I think that's what we're seeing now. And just to compare a similar pattern in gold over the next 45 years, but 13 years with a breakout last year in 2024, when gold broke $2,000. We are 1.5 years later, and you have seen the very impressive, stunning performance of gold. It went from $2,000 to $4,500 plus as of close on Friday. That's given you an idea. And I think silver now doing the same thing. And I'm definitely in the $100 silver camp. I don't know what you think. Please leave a comment section. I think mid to longer run of, and I even price target around $250 to $500 by the end of 2026. This is my thinking. Anybody who's following this market, we're all kind of surprised what's going on this year. I can tell you that from the people I discuss this with. But we have not seen anything that moves like this. And if you have, again, let's talk about it. Put it in the comment section. I would love to know what you think. In the 70s, when silver went from $2 to $50 within 2-3 years, maybe-ish, we've seen something similar, right? But of course, that's the dangers and the risks now that we still see that kind of thing, but now we see it on a regular basis. That was two brothers that got together, billionaires, buying up a ton of silver, started bringing supply down. People started looking and paying attention, so that brought demand up. Kind of like bear market and consolidation phase, kind of thinking, wow, the market was changing completely. It was only short-lived. That kind of thing can happen. So yes, in normal terms, it has moved up way too quickly, way too far, and it's very overbought. But we are in a bull market. Silver has broke free about from the 45-year resistance level. I think it doesn't matter really right now. I think just can continue to run higher. And we also know that we are in the same form of endgame, say, here, when it comes to a fiat money currency on this planet, and people desperately looking for a store of wealth. Um, Wealth in silver has always been delivering exactly that over the long run. Silver has done very well for families. I don't think it can stop here. I mean, it can pull back 10, 15, 20 bucks, maybe 25, but it's always going to come back. Now we have broke through certain resistances without someone buying up a bunch of silver like the Hunt brothers did in 1980. Nearly at almost $80 an ounce. The new all-time high. I'm not saying it definitely will pull back, but I'm being aware that it is a possibility. Again, I don't have any graphs or charts to look at to see if, what's the next step. We can't look at the cup and handle of certain era. Some people look at things differently than I do, so I guess we'll have to see who's right. But I don't see anything other than the upside of silver. Let me know what you think. Try to have a great rest of your day. There's a holiday coming up, and I want you all to be safe. Let's keep our families close. All right. God bless. Have a great rest of your day. See you probably tomorrow.